So a friend of mine said I should do a video about blacktail hunting. So I'm going to do a video about blacktail hunting. And this is the beginning of the morning, right here. It's 6:30, and it's been blowing and storming all night, just pouring rain. It's perfect conditions for blacktail hunting. We're at October 26th. My son shot a nice 4x3 yesterday. And I'm gonna go back up to the same clear cut that we've been hunting. We've seen a lot of does in over the last 2 weeks. I passed up a spike. My son had passed up a fork and horn. But the key thing is, in Southwest Washington, the bucks are rutting now. And that's why we saw that 4x3. He was with a doe. I actually am gonna go where my son's gut pile is, because I saw a bear last week in the area. And just by chance, maybe I'll get lucky and catch the bear on the gut pile. But it's so stormy out, I don't know. But this is the start of a day of blacktail hunting. And I'm no professional guide, but I've lived my whole life in Washington State. I've killed close to 20 deer. I've filled my tag over the last 30 years, mostly during muzzleloader. A lot of small bucks, a couple does, and I'm trying to shoot something worthy. I shot a nice 3-point last year. I've held myself to a standard. Instead of shooting the first buck I see like I used to, I'm trying to shoot a nice mature buck. Let's see what happens. Oh, and this is the point where I debate getting out of the truck. So a lot of times I just want to take a nap. I've been hunting hard for 2 weeks. Been enjoying myself, but a lot of miles. And do I really feel like hiking to the top of the hill, which is 2 miles away, in the pouring rain? And my coffee tastes really good. Truck's nice and warm. I could really take a nap right now. It's a real conundrum, especially when you're 53 years old. Hiking in, blacktail hunting in Washington State. One of the biggest issues in this state is land access. This is all private property. There's a little buck in here and a doe. But for people like me, working guys, it's become really expensive to hunt. It's hard to find public land anymore that isn't completely full of other hunters. And because of entities like Weyerhaeuser, unless you want to spend money for a gate key, there's not a lot of access. There are companies like Georgia Pacific that allow walk-in, which is pretty much the land that I'm on now, which is nice, but it means you gotta hike, and you gotta hike far. Now, if you have the time, you could go out to places like the Gifford Pinshaw and do a camp out, but that's far away from home. And most of my hunting season is happening during the week. And most guys like me can't afford to take time off from work. So you got to find a place that you can go to after work. That's nearly impossible if you live in Southwest Washington, because all the land is Weyerhaeuser. And unless you want to pay $400 and maybe get a key, because they sell out every year, you're screwed. I do highly recommend everybody get the app Onyx. It'll help you find places, but realize everybody else has Onyx. And don't be surprised when you run into other hunters on these little public parcels that you find on it. If you want to be successful and get big bucks in Washington State, you got to do a lot of hiking. You got to deal with a lot of BS when it comes to land and where you can hunt and where you can't hunt and access. Okay, still hiking. So what we're hunting is the two large clear cuts. One's upper and one's lower. How we hunt it is dictated by the wind. If we have a wind coming out of the north, we can access both cuts any which way we want. But when it's coming out of the south, we're kind of screwed because the lower cut runs north-south. So you're just going to blow everything out of there if you walk in on that road. So since we have a south blowing wind this morning, I'm hiking 2 miles up to the top cut, to the very top, and the wind is being blocked by this timber and this hill here. So I should be able to pop out on there without blowing anything out, and then I can hike down from that cut to the end of the road on the lower cut and be able to hunt that walking out with the wind blowing in my face. So everything depends on what the wind's doing on how we hunt this particular cut, and the wind should dictate how you hunt every cut. Pay attention to the wind because it does matter. You will see more animals if you're keeping your face into the wind than you will if you're walking with the wind, because everything in front of you is going to smell you. Sometimes it still works, but generally speaking, they get scent of human, especially in the middle of general season. These animals have been chased by bow hunters and muzzleloaders, and the last 2 weeks, modern firearm hunters. They're wary. You don't want them to smell you. Continuing on. So I've been here about 20 minutes. Pretty much. Where my barrel's pointing. That's where Jameson's buck was yesterday, and he shot it from here. It's like 260 some yards. What do you think, Jameson?
I think it's the biggest buck I ever shot.
I think it is too. Nice 4x3.
I think I got blessed this morning.
You did. The good Lord blessed us. Nice 4x3. Oh, that's a dandy, son. That is a dandy. Whew. Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good shot. 250-yard shot. If not,
maybe more.
Maybe more.
I'd say about 250 though.
Love you, son.
Love you too.
Gut pile's gone, so that bear did come in last night and probably snagged it. Not a surprise. Wind's kind of swirling. It doesn't want to make up its mind. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. I've heard a couple shots to the west. And I'm going to do some more glassing and just watch the edges in case something comes out. And then I'm going to make my way down that ridge over there, down into the bottom on the other side of that ridge to the lower clear cut. Honestly, if I get something, great. If I don't, I've enjoyed myself thoroughly this hunting season, and yesterday, being with my son when he shot that buck was just perfect. So, continuing on. The bane of all hunters, infamous red squirrel. If he didn't have a mouthful, he'd be barking at me. He's getting mad because I'm standing here staring at him. Okay, so I kind of moved opposite I was up there. Got a nice cross breeze going this direction. And in the past we've glassed a lot of does right over there. And I kind of already changed up my plans because of what the wind's doing. I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit in class. One thing, I know a lot of guys already know this, but I am a huge fan of doe and estrus pee. And the reason is, after taking about a 10-year hiatus from hunting, long story, there was a bass fishing obsession involved, an ex-wife. Needless to say, I got back into actually deer hunting about 3 years ago. I mean, seriously doing it. I had to relearn all the locations I could hunt. Most of the areas I used to hunt were locked up or developed. But I found one little area on Onyx. It was getting hammered by a lot of other people. But I went in anyways. I picked a clear cut that was about 2 miles from an access point, and I figured a few guys would actually hike up there because it was uphill. And I was correct. I got in there at first light. But before I went in, just for the heck of it, never used it before, I put one of these on my foot. This little sponge with some doe and heat pee that you can pick up from the sports store. It was a beautiful day. Sun was shining. It froze. Everything was frosted out. And I walked down to one landing and I was looking at the timber that the sun was shining on as it was rising over the hill behind me. And I was thinking to myself, well, all those bucks, all the bucks that could be here are in that timber where the sun is shining. Bedded down because they'd been up all night. And so I walked about 50 yards up from that landing and sat down on a stump and pulled out a bottle of water. As I'm taking a drink of water, I noticed movement. And lo and behold, here comes this fork and horn. He walks up out of the timber, up to the landing, and he's sniffing and smelling. He walks right to the place I had been standing 2 or 3 minutes prior to that. Then he starts walking up the road towards me. Well, needless to say, I filled my first deer tag in 10 years. So, though God gave me a lot of grace that day, I will never go hunting without some of that scent on me. And I don't think it's going to attract bucks like it did that one time. It might attract little bucks, but I do believe it masks my scent. And a ruddy buck might not pay attention to some human scent if he's smelling more doe scent. So I use it to help mask my scent when I'm doing these hunts, because like today, the wind's swirling. I'm having a hard time keeping track of it. It's changing constantly. I know the bucks are rutting, so that scent might give me a few extra minutes to spot and harvest a buck. That's the main reason I use it. That right there's while I'm out here. It's beautiful. I ain't gonna lie, I'm feeling the pressure. You know, I'm very happy my son got his buck yesterday. It would be nice to fill my tank. A good friend of mine shot a nice 3-point with eye guards yesterday as well. And I know when the time's right, God will present me with the opportunity. But sometimes I wonder if that opportunity was the spike I passed up last week. Either way, it is just beautiful. It's lightly raining now. The fall colors, I mean, this is absolutely my favorite time of year. I highly encourage anybody that has not hunted to think about it. It's great exercise. It's a great way to enjoy nature. Great way to learn about nature. And if you can put it all together, it can be really good eats. I'm sitting on the stump now, just enjoying the view. And enjoying the lack of wind. Because it's been blowing hard. So hard that it's hard to glass. So I'm down at the bottom where the creek is now. Wind's blowing consistently out of the south. Rain's coming in sideways. So I'm going to go down to the edge of the timber there and make my way into the wind along the edge all the way out. Right down here is where I spotted a black bear last week, and that's a good story in itself. But my phone's getting wet, so I will tell that another time. But this creek bottom is going to be a good area for finding ruddy bucks moving. And a lot of times in weather like this, they're just bedded down right off the timber, waiting for a lull to come out and sniff for does. So, I don't want to angle the phone up too much because it's raining so hard. I did about 300 yards along that creek. Snake Central. Everything's saturated. The bank was just all sliding mud. And I decided to get out of there because it was dangerous. And by myself, the last thing I need to do is twist an ankle or twist my bum knee. And I'm to the point, no matter what kind of breathable rain gear you get in the Northwest, at some point, it gets saturated. I'm saturated. There's a breakfast burrito sitting in my truck and some coffee calling me. I think it's time to hike back in, and we'll probably revisit the same area in a different way later this evening. But this has been hunting in Washington. Perfect day. Bucks could come out at any time. So if you want to be successful, you got to get out and put in the time, which I'm doing, and you got to get wet. Soaking wet. So it's like 10:30. I'm going to rejuvenate myself with coffee and food, as I said. But it's just beautiful out, you know. I don't know how many videos I'm going to actually make. And if anybody wants to watch them, cool. But man, this is so much better than sitting at home watching Netflix or scrolling on the phone. You know, the biggest problem today is people don't go out and have adventures anymore. I mean, not as many people. I mean, it used to be a thing when I was growing up. That's what you did. My dad and grandparents and their friends, we'd get together and go have adventures in the woods. Whether it was going to pick a Christmas tree out and sledding or skiing or hunting. We're always out in the woods doing something. Camping, hiking. And I think we need a lot more of that. Because life is short. And the older I get, the more I realize that. It goes by quickly. So this is food for your soul right here. Whether you are successful or not, getting out in beautiful fall forests is just so much better than not. I'm so glad to be wet and tired. My muscles are sore. Packing around this backpack full of crap I probably don't need. Packing around this gun. But you know what? I'm alive. And it just reminds me I'm alive. I'm not dead, scrolling or streaming. I'm out living the adventure. So it's about 5:30 now. Back up in the clear cut. I've seen nothing. Finally stopped raining. Got a really good wind now. It's pretty much non-existent. It's so beautiful out. I'm just gonna hunt slow. The edge of the timber. Back down to the lower clear cut. See if anything pops out. I don't know where the bucks are, but I got 3 does in front of me. And the mama doe, she keeps walking towards me. I'll zoom in on this. You can see one of her yearlings. Behind her, there's another doe, a little bit older behind that one. There's gotta be a buck around here. They're not real concerned about me. I've actually put these does to bed a number of times over the last 2 weeks. I think they're used to me. So I took the morning off. It's about 3 p.m. the 27th. I put those does to bed last night, and I'll be hitting that clear cut again. Closer to 6. I'm gonna hang out here for a couple hours. Wind is going that way. Last year, Jameson saw a pig right straight across on that timberline. And he was shooting at it with a grandpa's old 308. The scope on it was 50 years plus old. Needless to say, he missed. And he thought he was about 150 yards from it, but I've ranged it since. He was more like 220 yards. So, this year we got our scopes dialed in. And he's using a different gun. I'm probably going to use the 308 as a brush gun for bear. Not expecting a lot to go on, but you never know. I don't think all the bucks are rutting. Not hard yet. Jameson's was. But I was pretty surprised not to see any bucks with those does last night. 3 more came out and ended up being 6 does total. Just come down from the upper clear cut. Came down that ridge, down to here. Got no wind right now, which is nice. But I'll walk this road out. When there is wind, it should be in my face because it's all coming out of the south. I'll hunt a number of clear cuts for the next mile. Oh, 3/4 of a mile. Just walking slow, glassing. I should end up in the clear cut where I put the does to bed last night. About the same time they came out last night. A little bit before, so I can get set up. And hopefully, tonight, a buck follows them out. I can't imagine 6 does and no buck trailing them right now. It's October 27th. Jameson's buck was in rut. There's got to be more ruddy bucks around here.
Whoa, it's dark. Well, last night didn't work out. I didn't see anything. I'm sure all the deer down in that location have gone nocturnal. Storm is over. Nice and cold. So I drove an hour and a half to where I shot my buck last year. Try something different. Slept in the F-150. And now I'm just trying to warm up. It's about 6 a.m. Oh, I'm tired. Warming up, drinking some creatine and amino acids that the kid gave me. Creatine is supposed to be actually really good for your brain. I don't know that it's helping mine though. It's October 28th. Yeah, days are getting really confusing. Saturday was the 25th, Sunday was the 26th, yesterday was the 27th, today is the 28th, Tuesday the 28th. Got, including today, 4 more days. Then season's done till late season, which is 4 days in November. In the middle of the week, why they do that? It's like most guys are working. I'm not going to be able to hunt it. I think there's maybe one day or 2 days are on the weekend. But usually it's most of it's in the week. So I took this week off. Praying the Lord blesses me again this year. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But there's time. Let's try to wake up.
So we're hunting a little bit differently now. This area is pretty overgrown, so we're still hunting these old overgrown roads. I know there's deer out here in these jack firs, and hoping with the right on we catch a buck moving around. That's what I did last year. I got a nice 3-point. Where I planned on hunting, I'd actually slept in my truck in front of the gate. 2 rigs pull up. Guys get out. No thought to the fact that I'm already there. It's like, I don't know. It's not like it used to be. There's a lack of etiquette. Yeah, I want to film my tag. But if someone's already hunting a spot that I plan to hunt and I pull up to a gate and he's parked there, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm not just going to get out of my rig and walk in and pretend he's not even there. You know, I could have been a dick. I didn't. I said, you guys go ahead and hunt it. Oh, okay, well, we could all hunt it. I don't know you. I got other spots to hunt. So maybe that was fortuitous, because sometimes my best laid plans are not the ones that work. And see what God's got planned for me today. Still at it. What do you do? I will be going back to Jameson's clear cut. Probably tomorrow. But see what happens today. This area gets hunted heavily where I'm at right now. You know. But I did fill my tag here last year with a good buck, so you never know. Onward and upwards. So, I set up a tree stand about 3 months ago. And then crossroads. There's about 5 different trails coming in here. I've got doe and estrus set up. It's very windy, stormy. I will be doing some rattling. And my tree is swaying right now. According to Onyx, 11 a.m., there should be deer. We'll see if that's true or not. But I'm going to give it a shot. I actually shot my bear out of a tree stand last year. I've never shot a deer out of a tree stand. We'll see what happens. Wish me luck. Trail coming in there. Hard wind coming out of the east. Multiple trails coming off this little meadow. Trail coming in there. And another trail coming in right by me. See if anything's moving around. I'm going to sit here for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I will do some rattling and some doe bleats. So, it's October 29th. Was it 3 days now into this video? I'm frustrated, second guessing myself constantly. I just got to Jameson's. I'm gonna go. I tried yesterday to hunt a couple other spots, and a lot of other hunters out, which shouldn't surprise me, but it surprised me. Irritated me. Just really tired physically. I've averaged 4 to 8 miles a day for 2 weeks. Makes me want to cry. But just driving into Jameson's, saw a nice big 4-point mature buck. It's 6 a.m. It's not light out. Well, sunrise is like 7:40. Shooting hours would be 7:10, 15 or so. Last night I saw a nice mature 4-point walking down the road in town. They're nocturnal, and that's what's frustrating is I second guess myself, but I know there are bucks where I'm going
but I can't make them come out in the daytime. And there's a couple, I do the best I can to educate myself on where they possibly will come out when they come out, and trying to be there. And it just hasn't worked for me. I mean, it worked when we got Jameson's buck. That came together well, and I'm really happy about that. But it's, crunch time. I'm not going to hunt the late season. So basically I have today, tomorrow, and Friday. And now I second guess myself because I'm frustrated and tired.
Okay. So I got an egg nice this morning. I got a perfect wind, which is no wind. And I came in the lower cut, which was not what I had planned on doing. But I've seen more deer in here. As I was coming up the road, my 3 does that I put to bed so many times, they crossed right at this point. Meandered up in the timber, and then they came out at the end of the horizon there where the road turns, and went back down into the clear cut over there in the fog. That was awesome. Seeing the animals and putting plans together that work. I've known they've been coming out in the evenings out of the timber over there, and just from their tracks coming up here. I assumed they were bedding down up in this timber up here, but this morning they just looped up and looped back down. So I'm going to continue on. I got about another mile of clear cuts that go down to the creek down there. It'd be nice if a buck was following them, but so far, no buck. Fingers crossed. But what a beautiful morning. That was worth it. They never saw me or even acknowledged that I was here. I love it when a plan comes together. Now we just need one with antlers. Well, this morning didn't work out. It was good seeing the does. That was about 8 this morning. And it's now probably close to 3 p.m., 3:30, and I'm 4,000 feet higher in elevation. Basically, after I saw those does, I started working my way up. And perfect wind, which was no wind. Got to the end of the cut. I made my way up to the ridge to Jameson's spot. And I got into the spot where we usually sit. And I was going to sit in glass and watch for the does that are usually in that clear cut and where they come out. And up on the ridge, on the opposite side of the clear cut, actually where Jameson had been where we had been when we shot Jameson's buck, because the wind was different. Like I've always said, we had to approach that clear cut from different directions depending on the wind. Well, I had the perfect wind for me. The wind had kicked up and it was in my face like it's supposed to, but somebody else evidently been looking at Onyx and thought they'd make the hike into Jameson's spot. So, if you're hunting public lands in Washington, or public accessible lands in Washington, always have multiple game plans, because if you're looking at a spot, odds are pretty good someone else is looking at it too. It's frustrating because that guy, not knowing it, he blew that whole area out. Where he was standing, his scent went down through the whole area. And even though they're rotten, they're not stupid. The does still are going to alert them of people. I made my way down, and that was the other thing. The guy was acting goofy. He saw me, and he quickly got out of my sight, like he was trying to hide from me. Anyways, I made my way down the timberline, down to the lower cut again. Basically, I came out right where I watched the does crossing the road in the morning. Started hiking out that road, and there's a jacket hanging on a tree limb at the beginning of the clear cut. It was obviously an underneath fleece jacket. Someone had it under their shell. It got hot, took it off. So there was a guy walking in behind me, and where he hung his jacket was, with the way the wind was, is any scent on his jacket was blowing that one clear cut out. Excuse my language. Just frustrated the hell out of me. You know, I love hunting, and I don't blame them. I mean, they're trying to do the same thing I am, but it's just so frustrating. You spend a lot of time getting to know a spot, think you have it to yourself, and then when it comes crunch time and you're working your butt off, somebody else comes into the area and just blows it out with their scent. And just so frustrating. So I went and got coffee, stopped at my buddy Nathan's, and we went over some maps, and he recommended the area I'm in right now. He actually got a nice 3-point with eye guards out of here Saturday. But in the meantime, I finally checked the game camera I had on my tree stand. Holy crap. I'll include those videos. Got 4 or 5 different bucks coming by that tree stand, all nocturnal, except on the 27th, one very, very ruddy 3-point came in at 7 a.m. And 27th is when I picked that game camera up. I was there in the afternoon. So I'm just evening hunting up here, and I'm actually going to go spend the night close to the tree stand. And barring I get something up here, hopefully I can get in that tree stand without alerting anything and have a buck come in. But there's been some nice bucks going right by my tree stand. Freaking squirrels are really alerting me up here, so. Actually, this is a spot I want to hunt bear in next August. Okay, I've done enough rambling. I'm not the best hunter. I'm just I'm struggling right now, though. I am really struggling. So, it's been a hectic year. But I stuck with my gut, stuck her out, persevered, and got myself a decent buck. A lot better than the spike I passed up. So I'm happy. Videos all over the place, I know, but I was hunting and wasn't thinking about videoing this morning. I essentially, I tried everything yesterday. I drove like up into the Gifford Pinjaw. I went to my tree stand, and there's some big bucks around the tree stand. It's just they're all nocturnal on the camera. But this morning I was like, I keep seeing these does out here, and me and Jameson's spot. I was like, there's gonna be a buck around. And sure as heck, I found one. Stay tuned. Okay. Real work begins. I got him off the ridge. Thankfully, Jameson has a game card. I just ran back to where I parked to get it. I'm tuckered out already. This is gonna be the end, so I thought I'd wrap up. I started vlogging on the 26th. It's now October 30th, so the last 4 days. But this season has been a long season, and I've been out here every day after work, every weekend. I don't know how many miles we've logged, but I've gotten to know this particular spot like the back of my hand. And that is why I filled my tag this morning. This video, you'll see I'm all over the place, really second guessing myself. Drove up to the Gifford Pinchaw yesterday. I was up by my tree stand, which I set up originally for bear. All over the place, second guessing myself. But it came down to perseverance, knowing the area, really putting the time in, and having faith. My faith was waning this morning, but the Lord's never failed me when I just stuck to it and did the hard work, and that's what it is. I know not everybody can do this, but if you can hike and you put the time in, you will be successful at blacktail hunting. I'm just so grateful right now. This buck was right where I expected one to be. And I'm at a loss for words. Basically, trying to wrap this up, man. I almost didn't come back here this morning, but right here, this little bowl here, I saw the spike that I passed up last week. On the other side is where Jameson took his buck. But we've known for over 2 weeks now that the bucks are bedding down over here in this timber, and there's a creek down here, and then they're coming up this ridge line and going up into the clear cut. And we've patterned that, and we've known that because we've been out here every day, and I've been watching the does and the movements of the doe. And last night I was telling my wife, I'm worn out. I'm second guessing myself. I said, maybe I should have shot that spike. Maybe that was the opportunity God was going to give me. And she reminded me, she's like, if you'd shot that spike, you wouldn't have been with Jameson when he shot his 4-point. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, if I'd shot that spike, Jameson probably wouldn't have got that 4-point because I made him get out of bed that morning. I wouldn't have seen all the animals I've seen, the bear. I wouldn't have seen the weasel take the squirrel, the skunk, saw a bobcat. Actually, just on my way to get the car, there was a bobcat in the road. I didn't get my phone out in time. But all the wonderful experiences I've had out here wouldn't have happened if I had shot that spike. And I wouldn't have gotten this guy. And, I just, last night I told her, I could go back to my tree stand because I know there are bucks there. I've seen them on the game camera. Or I can stick to my original plan. And I told her, I got to go back where I keep seeing the does. And that's what I did. And the good Lord blessed me. Perseverance and opportunity. That's all I can say. Don't ever give up. Especially at the end of season, the bucks are in rut and it doesn't matter what the weather's doing. They could get up at any moment during the day to go chase does. God bless everyone.